Hi, Bruno Jr. here. Our podcast, Busting Addiction and Smiths, is sponsored by SafeHouseRehab.com. SafeHouse believes that traditional treatments fall short of the needs of clients who face the modern problems of addiction. Modern problems need modern solutions. Multiple addictions, multiple relapses, multiple triggers, and cheaper and more powerful street drugs set up unprecedented challenges facing treatment centers. What is needed is a more sophisticated approach, a better way forward. There are 3 reasons to choose our progressive modern treatment program. 1, a more sophisticated intake process. 2, technology proven to enhance recovery. And 3, the most robust aftercare program in our sector. To learn more, visit us at SafeHouseRehab.com.
Do I call an intervention? How?
I think the answer lies in, do we believe that the addict or alcoholic in our family might be ready to accept help? And I think that's a call that only the family can make. The addict or alcoholic who's practicing can't make that call. So the first question then is, at what stage or is the addict or alcoholic actually going to be in a state of readiness? Some of these signs are, that addict or alcoholics become suicidal. Their lives are completely in shambles. They have entertained maybe the thought of help, but then rejected it because the disease is too strong. So you kind of have to, gauge for yourself whether an intervention could be successful if done right. There's a great book about intervention called Love First by Jeff and Debra Jay, J-A-Y. And in it, they talk about 2 types of interventions. One is a professional intervention, and the other is a family intervention. Let me address the family intervention first. And quite honestly, the professional interventionists follow the same sort of protocol. And it is essentially the same, but done in a more professional way, if you will. The same as a family intervention, and here's how that works. First of all, it is advised that everybody read the same thing. In this case, it might be that book or it might be another book, but read the same thing. Don't have one person, quote intervention from the internet, another person brings, So make sure you're all on the same page and understand the vocabulary and agree to that. Secondly, the reason that the book is called Love First is that there is one thing, usually, that the addict or alcoholic cannot deny. They can deny a whole lot of things. That they're an addict, that they're causing damage, that their lives are disrupted, that they're hurting their family, their careers, blah, blah. The one thing that they typically cannot deny, and that's the fact that their families love them. Love cuts through denial is a very powerful thing. So if it is understood and conveyed that this is about love and not about punishment and not about negative consequences, then that you might get a sliver of hope that that person is actually listening to you, and there might be a moment of clarity and empathy that is perhaps unexpected on the part of the suffering alcoholic or addict. Then you get to the phase where, let's say there are 4 people in the family, and you probably have to trick this person to into the room, where it might be, want to join us for some kind of dinner or whatever. And if that addict or alcoholic suspects it, they could still go. They might go, okay, I think I know what's going on. Or they might just bolt. I'm not doing this. Chances are the latter, because at this point they're still defiant and they're in denial. So be careful, right? So let's say that you have that alcoholic in your clutches and the door shuts behind him and he goes, uh-oh. Knows right away. Right away. I knew right away when my employer said, suppose we could have a cup of coffee across the street? I'm thinking, wait a minute. You want to have a meeting, we'll have it here, but uh-oh. You want to tell me something, out of earshot, privately, So I was suspicious, but I was ready for them. And how was I ready? They said, you think you're drinking too much? I said, yeah, it's possible. That was my sort of yes. So I got them off my back for 6 months at least. So let's say that now this person has entered this sanctuary or this cage, And the first order of business is we want to tell you that we love you and we're concerned about you. We're going to have each person, mom, dad, brother, wife, whatever, read you a letter. And this letter is prepared well in advance and shared. Everybody shares their letters of love and concern. And there's a certain structure to it. First, I want you to know that we love you very much. We miss the old you, you know. We have noticed this and this and this. And that worries us and hurts us deeply. But we do love you, and we're here to help you. That kind of tonality, that usually breaks through. Each person tells a story from their perspective. Dad's story, mom's story, you know, wife, husband. So, you know, we've been married for 10 years, and for many of those years I was extremely happy. You made me proud. There might be a kid involved. Oh my God, it's usually at least a teenager. That gets to them. That really gets to them. So they may end up like crying like little babies at that point. Now, we have an offer for you. We want to help you. If you accept help, we've packed your bag for you. Your wife's packed your bag for you, and you can head right for a treatment facility, you know, with our blessing. And, you know, maybe it's paid for or whatever. Maybe it's out of town. Maybe it's in town. So you get in the van, you fly to Colorado, and you're there. And hopefully you'll take it seriously. I think that point in time where there's hardly ever have I seen somebody enthusiastically say, yeah, I'm going. It's like, okay, because what happens is part two is then shared. Part two is, you know, if you don't accept our help, there are some consequences. We cannot provide money for you anymore. We can't provide free housing. You will not be able to see your children because we're afraid when you're with them, you know, that you're either going to hurt them or that you'll be using or that you'll leave them in a car or something like that. We can't have that anymore. So any time is a good time for an intervention if the alcoholic or addict is really nearing what we think is their bottom. They're really in bad shape. And, quote, when you're near your bottom, you're more ready for help than at any other time. If you've only been using a few years, you know, and you're in denial and you still got a job, there's no way. They're not going to accept it, even though there are some high bottom drunks, we call them. You know, I was one of them because all I did was get fired from my job. I wasn't, you know, in jail. You know, I wasn't in a mental institution. I wasn't on the street, homeless, and many of them are. And then how you do it is, you know, either through a professional interventionist or, as I mentioned, everybody get on the same page, read our book, if not that one, and go forward according to the manner that is that's suggested. And the odds of success, I can't speak to them because I was involved in two interventions. The first one with this young woman, she went into treatment, back into treatment, but then relapsed 3 months later. Does that mean the intervention failed? I don't think so. You know, she went on and made her own decisions, but at least she entered treatment. In another case, a guy walked out on us. So those are just anecdotal, and I have no idea what the true odds are, but you got to try. You have to try, because a life may be at stake. Our podcast is sponsored by SafeHouseRehab.com, a modern approach to recovery. To learn more, visit us at SafeHouseRehab.com.